Yeah, exactly. I actually had the privilege of meeting him last year, and also John Perkins. And John Perkins said that we should form an alliance with countries that are facing similar situations as we are in. And I think that is actually a very good idea. And I've been trying to encourage this government, which is a left-wing government, which should actually be fighting very much against having an IMF program in Iceland, which the IMF program goes very much into privatization of everything. But we'll see what happens. Really the spirit in Iceland right now, having only like 1.3% of the nation saying yes to this Icesave deal and 93% saying no, there is really a spirit of or demand from the general public that the parties move beyond party politics and start to work for us, not I and I and I. There's really a time for people, parties and people to start to focus on joint solutions beyond party politics.
You've got to circle the wagons against the bankers. Stay there. We're going to come back and take calls for Birgitta Jonsdottier. I'm Alex Jones. Calls only for her on the banking cartel. We'll also talk about, are the people of Iceland excited they've had this big victory? How will the banking empire strike back? 1-800-259-9231. We'll be right back. A lot of questions from Twitter and emails and callers that want to talk to Miss Jonsdottier. But going back to the member of the Icelandic Parliament, one of the main leaders successfully getting this referendum through, how excited are the people about this referendum, and how is the establishment, the banking cartel, striking back?
Well, people are very happy. It was our first national referendum. It was a historical day, and we had a little get-together on the Saturday night, and the mood was fantastic. And in general, I really hope that we can keep the spirit of the nation joining together, and we need to move that ambience into Parliament and into the government as well, so that they carry on the message from the nation. The bankers haven't really said much right now. I guess that they are planning their next strike. However, they're using the British and the Dutch government in their favor, and it was a bit sad that our democratically elected Prime Minister decided to sit home sulking instead of participate in this historical moment. And despite her doing that, and thus giving a strong message to the biggest party in Iceland, people decided to go out and vote anyway. But there are very many exciting things happening in Iceland, such as we just spoke for a proposal which we call the Icelandic Modern Media Initiative, which has gained worldwide attention. Where we're suggesting that Iceland will take the lead in the freedom of speech, freedom of information, and freedom of expression by actually modernizing and pooling together the best possible legislation to protect sources, journalists, whistleblowers, publishers, and ISP hosts in order to get that information out to the general public.
In fact, I have the article right here, Icelandic Modern Media Initiative, saying the West is moving in Europe, England, the U.S., and Canada, and Australia to censor the Internet, to shut down free speech. Wired Magazine last week had the headline, Cybersecurity, the End of the Open Internet. This is really happening. And so now you guys are moving to say, look, we'll allow WikiLeaks to be here. We'll allow independent journalism. We want people to move here and come here and put their servers here, really as an information revolution. The people are finding the power they have to say no to the banks, and this is really growing.
Yeah, and I really hope that it. It's for some reason Icelanders are right now a bit shy about placing themselves as doing anything that would be considered the best. They don't want to fall in the same pit. So I guess the most skeptical people about this proposal are Icelanders. We, however, managed to get all the parties in Iceland on this, and 3 party chair leaders. So I'm actually quite optimistic that we can pass this through the Parliament. We're basically proposing or tasking the government to take on this challenge because it requires a lot of legislative changes. But But, in general, it's been overwhelming, the support we've got from all over the world.
And now Greece and Spain and countless others are going to try to follow your example. This is a true revolution against the global banking dictatorship, attempting to establish open world government and tyranny. I've got some questions here from our Twitter page. And again, it is a repeat of some of the things I've been asking about. What are the consequences of not conforming? We just dropped our video connection to her. We'll get her back. And we're going to go through some of these questions for her and your phone calls as soon as we get her back up. Again, we try to bring you a lot of the guests via video connection, plus it has better audio connection on Skype. But there are some problems when they're on an island in the middle of the Atlantic, obviously. But we're going to get into some of that. What are the consequences of not conforming to EU demands? Finance Minister Steingrumer, a no vote does not mean we are refusing to pay. What are her thoughts on his statements? We'll find out if that statement's true and what her take on that is. Also, what could anti-war and anti-debt slavery movements learn from the success of the movement party in Iceland? And so those are some of the questions. We'll also go to live questions from listeners. Don't forget that you can't not only just listen to us on AM and FM dial, a lot of new affiliates picking us up, several new affiliates each week. The show's exploding. You can also listen via the free podcast that has a link up at the top of Infowars.com on the radio listen page, and the free iPhone app. 5-star rating, over 400 ratings now. 5-star ratings. Even if you don't have an iPhone, your friends and family probably do. Go to Infowars.com. Front page, there's a banner that gives you the sublink on the iPhone store to the free download link. Please send that to your friends and family. That's another great way for us to reach new people with the news and information we cover, the guests we bring on, the callers, all the information, using this radio/TV show as a platform of awakening and resistance to this tyranny. Okay, Birgitta, going back to you. Here's a Twitter question from E9 Adam. What's the consequences of not conforming to EU demands?
Well, there's been a lot of doomsday consequences, scenarios told to the nation. I seriously have a feeling, because of this very strong signal from the Icelandic nation and actually a very little interest among the nation to join the EU, that there was actually a statement made by the chief of the EU application procedure saying that the UK, Netherlands, and Iceland should not be, the application should not be interfered with despite.
So first they were threatening to not let you in. Now that you don't want in, they're saying, "Oh no, go ahead and come in. We want to rob you like Greece." Here's another question. Have you heard this statement? Is it accurate? Finance Minister Steingrumer, if I'm pronouncing that right, said a no vote does not mean we are refusing to pay. What are your thoughts on his statements?
Sometimes it really surprises me what he says. It is as if he is working for the British and the Dutch, not us.
So he did say that.
Well, he did say that. And however, let us not forget that the bank in question actually has a sustainable amount of assets that can be recovered. And so far, what the British and the Dutch can claim in it will actually be recovered by at least 88%.
Yeah, that was in the Times of London. They claimed that you all owed them $20,000+ every individual, and they had to take over all your infrastructure. Now they go, guess what? We don't even need that money. We already had the assets. So it was a giant, just like the banks here that have robbed us are all recording record profits, the same banks that are trying to rob you. I mean, that is such a key point, that it turns out that they had the assets to begin with.
Yeah, and the thing is that they actually decided, or Darling, the financial minister of the UK, he decided to move money within his own ministry and then earmark some of it, 700 billion Icelandic to the Icelandic nation, and then expect us to pay full interest, really high interest of that. I mean, it is a brilliant scheme, but we will not do it.
Well, that's another, exactly. You're wise to it. Americans should get wise as well. The collapse of Iceland was a private matter. Why do they want the people to pay it is a question from Resist Archipelago.
Well, I mean, in general, like every time you look at how the IMF functions, and I was actually reading a secret document leaked to WikiLeaks, which is a brilliant source if you want to sort of dig deeper into the real conspiracies of our world. And it was a manual from the military sector in the U.S. Talking about unconventional warfare. And in the unconventional warfare, the section about financial warfare, they talk about the IMF as one of their choice weapons. So, you know, I encourage people to study how the IMF functions. And,
exactly. It's a private consortium for blowing out countries, and the banks are attacking America. This is a criminal group.